Let me start by telling you about Sarah. Sarah did what everyone tells you to do. Before she moved out, she Googled it. How much money do I need before moving out? She got the same answers you've probably seen. 3 months of rent, 6 months of expenses, $10,000. So she picked one. She saved. She waited. She did it right. And when she finally moved out, she felt prepared. For about 3 weeks. Nothing dramatic happened. She didn't lose her job. She didn't miss rent. She didn't blow money on anything stupid. But little things started stacking up. Utilities were higher than she expected. Groceries cost more than they used to. She ordered food more often because she was exhausted after work. Then her car needed a repair. Nothing huge, just enough to be annoying. And that's when she realized something. Those numbers she Googled, they never explained why she needed the money, and they definitely didn't explain what actually happens after you move out. They gave her a target, but not a cushion. So this video isn't going to give you a flashy number. It's going to give you a real one that works in real life, one that accounts for being tired, for being human, for things not going perfectly, one that keeps you from panicking and lets you stay moved out. Most advice about moving out assumes one thing, that life behaves, that once you move out, things just stay normal, that nothing breaks at the wrong time, that your paycheck hits exactly when it's supposed to, that your hours don't get cut, that your car doesn't make a noise you've never heard before, that you never miscalculate. But that's not real, because real life is uneven. Some months are fine, some months are expensive for no clear reason, some months feel normal until the very end, and then something small tips the whole thing over. And here's the part people miss. When Sarah struggled after moving out, it wasn't because she didn't have enough money. She had saved, she had a plan, she had done the math. What she didn't have was room for things to stack up. Like the month her internet bill jumped because of a promo ending. The same month her grocery bill went up because she was working later hours. The same month her car needed new tires sooner than expected. None of those things were emergencies. None of them were reckless. They were just life. But because her budget was tight, each one felt heavier than it should have. That's the difference between having money and having margin. Money says, I can pay this bill. Margin says, I can pay this and still be okay. Margin is what lets you breathe when something goes slightly wrong. It's what keeps one bad week from becoming a bad decision. Without margin, every surprise feels personal. Every expense feels like a failure. And every setback feels bigger than it is. That's why people don't move back home because of one mistake. They move back home because they run out of flexibility. So before we talk numbers, before we talk savings goals or dollar amounts, we need to talk about structure. Because the right structure doesn't assume life will behave. It assumes life will interrupt you. And it builds space for that on purpose. Let's get to it. Rule 1. Rent is not your biggest problem. Rent is loud. It's the number you see first, the one in bold, the one people ask about. Everything else is quiet. That's why rent gets blamed. And Sarah blamed rent too, at first. When things started feeling tight, that was the number she kept looking at. Her rent was the biggest bill. So in her mind, it had to be the problem. But here's the thing. Rent never surprised her. It showed up on the same day, for the same amount, every single month. It was predictable. What wasn't predictable was everything attached to it. Utilities that changed with the weather. Groceries that cost more than they used to. Gas prices that crept up without warning. Small apartment things she didn't even know she'd need until she needed them. None of those were loud. They didn't announce themselves. They just quietly took a little bit of money at a time. And because they were quiet, Sarah didn't really count them the same way. When she said, I can afford the rent, what she actually meant was, I can afford this one bill, if everything else behaves. But everything else doesn't behave. Life doesn't move in straight lines. One month the utility bill is fine. The next month it isn't. 1 week, groceries feel manageable. The next week, you're tired and order food twice. None of that feels like failure. That's what makes it dangerous. By the time Sarah realized what was happening, it wasn't one big expense hurting her. It was 5 small ones, all pulling at the same time. And that's the part no one explains when they give you a rent number. Rent isn't the threat. Rent is the anchor. The danger is everything tied to it. Utilities, food, transportation, maintenance, life. So when someone says, "I can afford the rent," the real question is, can you afford the rent and the month where nothing lines up perfectly? Because Sarah could afford the rent. What she couldn't afford was rent plus reality. And that's the difference between moving out and staying out. The real question you should be asking isn't, "Can I move out?" It's, "How long can I stay moved out if something goes wrong?" That's the conversation we're having. Second is utilities. Utilities aren't just monthly, they're seasonal. They spike, they surprise. If you can only afford utilities in perfect weather, you can't afford them. You need room for discomfort or comfort, your choice. Another is transportation, the budget killer. Transportation is the sneakiest expense. Gas doesn't ask permission. Parking doesn't care about your budget. Commutes change your food spending, your time, your energy. You don't just budget money here, you budget tiredness. Now, to the cost. People don't calculate food. Food is emotional now. You're tired, you're alone, you don't feel like cooking. That's normal. So your budget has to account for being human, not disciplined 24/7. If your budget only works when you're perfect, it doesn't work. Maintenance plus random life. Nothing breaks at a convenient time. Things don't wait for payday. So you don't just need money for bills, you need money for interruptions. That's adulthood. The number that actually works. So here's the real answer, not a viral one, a usable one. Before you move out, you need enough money to cover your first month, your move-in costs, your setup costs, and one full bad month. Not an emergency fund for retirement. One bad month. That's the difference between panic and recovery. What a bad month actually means. A bad month means something breaks. You order more food than planned. A bill is higher than expected. Life doesn't cooperate. If you can survive that without spiraling, you're ready. This number feels big, and why that's okay. If this sounds like a lot, that's because moving out is a big deal. It's not supposed to be easy. But struggling doesn't make you stronger. Stability does. Moving out isn't a milestone you rush. It's a system you build. The goal isn't independence at all costs. The goal is staying independent. So if you're not there yet, you're not behind. You're preparing, and that's how people actually make it. If this video helped, hit the like button. It helps this reach people who need it. Subscribe if you want more honest conversations about money, adulthood, and real life. And in the next video, I'll break down how to build this money step by step without burning yourself out. Not fast, not flashy, but real.